Welcome back, fight fans, to another edition of The Coach and the Kid. I am the Kid, once again joined by my co-host, the Coach. Coach, we are traveling down to Miami, Florida for the vacant light heavyweight title. Jiri Prochazka takes on Carlos Ulberg in the main event of UFC 327. Coach, and while these are main card predictions, I want to get your insight on some prelims as well as the card as a whole. What are you thinking about these prelims, Coach?
I usually don't love the women fights, the ladies fighting, because I'm old and I'm not used to watching that sort of thing unless I'm on a muni bus and somebody didn't pay and they're getting kicked off the bus. Because girl fights on buses are awesome, but I'm kind of I'm kind of used to it now. I'm looking forward to see what Tatiana Suarez is up to because I've always liked her for some reason. I also like Kevin Holland if Kevin Holland shows up, but and Kevin Gastelum, I kind of like him. I used to think he was a badass, but he seems like he's gotten beat up a few times and he's starting to lose his luster. But I know what you're going to say about Patricio Pitbull and Aaron Pico. That's a fight we should have seen a while ago, and that's going to be possibly one of the fights of the night, I think. What do you think, bud?
I agree, Coach. It is the featured prelim, and I think very deservedly so. These were two guys that were supposed to fight in Bellator, two of the real faces of Bellator when that promotion was afloat. I like both guys, but I'm going to go with Aaron Pico. I think he gets into the rankings. I think the UFC is extremely high on Aaron Pico. Will he show up is the question. He's talked about it earlier in his fighter meetings. He said he got excited. He said he was doing well against Lerone Murphy, who's the number 2 guy in the world, and he overextended and got caught. I think he's going to fight a little bit smarter here. I think the fight IQ is going to be on display. I think he knocks out Patricio Pitbull, Coach. Pitbull's old and small. Two things you don't want in the fight game, especially at the lighter weight classes. I think Aaron Pico bullies him, and I think he finishes him. Like you said, Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown is a striker's delight. Two long, lengthy African strikers. And then Mateusz Gamrot versus Esteban Ribovitz. That's a real prove-it fight for Ribovitz. Gets his shot at the rankings, Coach. I love these prelims. Let's move into the main card.
Alrighty.
Coach, an absolute banger to lead off the main card here at the Kaseya Center at UFC Miami, UFC 327. Two veterans of the game, a legend, Cub Killer Swanson, takes on Nate the Train Landwehr. Coach, I'm going to go with you first. Who are you going with in this featherweight tilt?
Well, I normally I would pick Nate the Brain Dead Landmine, but he's he's a bleeder, man, and he's a dumbass, and the Cubs laying his gloves down this weekend, and I just like the guy. He's well respected in the fight world. He's a nice guy. I love watching UFC Embedded because they always show behind the scenes with him and his kids, and they look like clones. They all have the short hair and the glasses, and he just seems like such a nice guy. I'd like to see him go out on a W, so I'm going to go with him because I don't think the train is good. I think the train is going off the tracks. So I'm picking the Cub, and I hope he gets it done, and I hope he retires a happy guy and has a great life.
Wow, that was a touching treatment there to Cub Swanson. I'm sure he would love a video package at the end of the fight. Coach, I'm going to agree with you here. I think Cub Swanson is one of the most underrated guys in terms of resume in UFC history. You look at the resume and some of the wins this guy has. Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier back-to-back. I mean, both, he got them while they were young, but still, at any point in their careers, those are two incredible wins. He's fought guys like Frankie Edgar. Even the losses as of late, he lost a decision to Andre Fili, but he also beat Hakeem Dawodu and Billy Quarantillo in 2 out of his last 3 fights. To me, that is super encouraging, and Cub Swanson has been and always will be technical, even at 42 years of age. And I think Landwehr here is the absolute opposite. Coach, we discussed it in our meeting. I think Nate the Train is as good as you let him be. If you play into his style of fight and you buy into that slugfest type mentality, that fight of the night 50K bonus type mentality, Nate the Train can drag you into deep waters. But if you have a guy who's a little bit slicker, a little bit more professional, like a Morgan Charrier, who knocked him out in his last fight, I think you can beat a guy like Nate the Train. Cub Swanson is the far more technical guy here, Coach. I'm going to go with Cub. By decision, he lays the gloves down a winner. And Coach, side note, both of these guys have great tattoo artists. Look at those tats on their abdomen. I love it. I'm going to go with Cub Swanson here. He's got the in and out.
Who doesn't love palm trees coming out of your crotch.
I was gonna say he's got the In-N-Out logo coming out of his dick, so that's cool. He looks like one of those, one of the cups from In-N-Out.
Oh, it's In-N-Out, all right.
That's pretty. That's pretty cool. I like that, Coach. Let's move on to a light heavyweight tilt. Coach, I believe there's 3 light heavyweight bouts on this card and 1 heavyweight matchup. Coach, the first of the 3 is going to be an exciting matchup between Dominic Reyes and Johnny Walker. Coach, I'll take the lead on this one. Johnny Walker is one of the most athletic guys at light heavyweight. I think this is a guy that's trending towards heavyweight. He doesn't want to cut as much weight. That's not super encouraging to me. But you know what else isn't super encouraging? The way Dominic Reyes looked against Carlos Ulberg last time out. He looked like he was about 50 years old, Coach. It looked like a lamb getting sacrificed. It was horrible. The matchup itself didn't make much sense, but you kind of... Fans love Dominic Reyes, especially after that absolute robbery against John Jones. I think the UFC wants to do right by him, so they're kind of pushing him towards these bigger matchups. Whatever it was, he was not ready for Carlos Ulberg, and I think that how good Carlos Ulberg looked was actually in reality how bad Dominic Reyes was on that night. He looked old. He looked slow. Look at the media picture here, Coach. He looks like Nate Diaz if he ate Nate Diaz. I don't love it, Coach. I think Johnny Walker looks in great shape. I think he's going to be the faster guy. I think he's going to be the more technical guy. Coach, let's face it here. We've got the battle of 2 glass cannons. And when a glass cannon goes off, it often shatters. I could see a double knockout happening here. Anything goes, especially when you have a Johnny Walker fight. This guy is goofy as all hell. Coach, Dominic Reyes, one of the best guys in the game. He was incredibly nice to me, but I've got to pick against him here. Give me Johnny Walker by TKO.
I think Johnny Walker looks a lot better. I think he looks more athletic. I like Dominic Reyes. Like you say, he's a nice guy, but he looks like your ex-father, stepdad. And I got to go against him, man. He just looks goofy, and he does not look like he doesn't look like a fighter. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
He looks like a guy that yells at Little League kids. And, and Johnny Walker, to me, that is one funky looking guy, man. He looks like the bad guys in every Miami Vice from the 90s and 80s show. But he's got a family full of fighters, and he comes from that background. I think poor Dominic, he needs to lay the gloves down, man. I mean, I think he's seen better days. Like you said, man, he's such a nice guy. You got to hang out with him, and I just hate to see a nice guy get his ass kicked, but I think he's going down. I think Johnny's on his way back up again. So, but both these guys are kind of unpredictable, wouldn't you say?
100%. Whoever lands first is probably going to take it because that first blow is probably going to knock the other guy out. And God damn it, Coach, I hope it's Dominic Reyes because I am a fan for life after I met him in Miami. Coach, unfortunately, my gut just says Johnny Walker, and I've got to go with my gut.
I'm with you there, brother.
Coach, let's move on to what I think is the most interesting and kind of tantalizing matchup here between Curtis Blades and Josh Hokett. The former NFL player takes on a world-class wrestler in the number 4 ranked heavyweight Curtis Blades. Coach, where are you going with this matchup? Do you think this is too soon for Josh Hokett, or do you think he gets the job done and climbs into the top 5 at heavyweight?
Well, I think, honestly, Curtis Blades has way better boobs. I'm not a boob man, but Hokett looks like he doesn't do any chest work. And I'm sorry, but when you have a chest like that, you don't put a lion on it, okay? And he's just not developed enough for me. And he's a hard hitter. There's some good things about him. He hasn't fought anybody, though. Curtis Blades, as your boy says, he's a marauder. He really is, man. He's a badass. And he's taken on everybody, and he's not afraid to take a fight. If Dana calls and says, I need you to come in, he's like, what time? So I like him, and he's a killer gorilla for sure, man. You look at this guy. He's scary looking, man. He is scary looking. You take that head and turn it upside down, it looks exactly the same. And he's got a fro on either side, which is awesome. You know what I mean? This dude is and he's a nice guy. I like him. Hokett, I don't really know much about. I watched some video of him working out, and everybody looks good when they work out. And they always have some jive guy that's holding the gloves and saying, oh, it's the best shape he's ever been in. He looks great. I mean, he was built for this. And then, then you get the guy and he goes, it's my time. Like, really? Are you reading that right? I don't think it's his time. and I think he's got a good personality for the UFC, but he might be coming up too quick, man. Curtis is a seasoned vet, and I like him. I'm going with Curtis, man. The Blade Runner, baby.
Coach, I'm in agreement. I've got 3 points I want to make about this fight. The first of which is not actually a part of the three. This is the one thing that concerns me in this matchup. Josh Hokett is an ex-NFL player, and I think that's going to fare well because Curtis's head looks exactly like a football. So I think that's his edge in this matchup. Coach, in all seriousness, when have we ever seen an ex-NFL guy work out in the UFC? Greg Hardy,
Never.
Eric Anders? That's correct, Coach. Never. They're always hyped up as these uber athletic prospects, and it never pans out. They always get knocked on their ass. At the end of the day, that's like a paddle player coming in and fighting, or excuse me, playing against Carlos Alcaraz, despite being the greatest paddle player ever or the greatest pickleball player ever. It doesn't matter. Experience wins championships. Coach, second point I want to make here is I think the UFC is desperate to have some kind of personality in what is an extremely dead heavyweight division, especially with the threat of losing their champion, Tom Aspinall. I think they're clamoring for a guy that can stir up some sort of headline in a dead division, and I think this is a win-win here. Either Curtis Blades gets a win and does the company a favor by taking out two unranked guys that frankly, he really shouldn't have to fight being the number 4 ranked heavyweight. Josh Hokett should be fighting somewhere between 15 and 10 as far as ranking goes. And if Josh Hokett wins, Coach, you got a guy in the top 5 who talks a lot of shit, whether it be corny or not. He's drums up numbers. People like watching him. Coach, my final point on this fight is this reminds me a lot of when Rene de Ridder took on Bo Nickel. It was too much, too early for a hyped up wrestling prospect. And we've seen guys want to wrestle Curtis Blades. That Jailton Almeida fight, he was in on a takedown for a round and a half, and Curtis Blades ended up pounding him out. I think Josh Hokett has been the beneficiary of fighting a lot of guys who are not on his level. Denzel Freeman in the last fight, I mean, he knocked him out with a middle finger. He flipped him off, and Denzel Freeman went down, and they called the fight. Herb Dean called it. I mean, Blades is not Denzel Freeman. He's not Denzel Washington. He's Curtis Blades, Coach. I think he runs through Josh Hokett. I think Hokett may look good early, but the experience factor is going to trump all here. Curtis Blades by decision for me.
You know what? I agree with you. And this guy Hokett, if he talks a lot of shit, and then if he gets knocked out, what is he going to do? He's going to come back next time and go, oh, my balls are sweaty, and I'm drinking a beer out of my shoe. He's going to have to drink a beer out of his jockstrap. He's going to have to come up with something new. It's just the problem with these heavyweight guys, they try to come up with gimmicks. Dude, just like Al Davis used to say, just win, baby.
Yep. I agree, Coach.
Let's move on, my guy.
100%. Moving on, Coach, to another light heavyweight matchup, which is super interesting because Paulo Costa is coming off a great win at 185, where he is actually one of the elite, and he is taking on one of 205's hottest prospects, the undefeated Azamat, the professional Mirzakhanov. Coach, I'll take the lead on this one here. Like I said, I don't really get this matchmaking. For me, the thing that is deterring me from picking Costa is how he looked against Marvin Vettori at 205 when he wasn't super interested in cutting weight. To me, this 205-pound venture kind of seems like a free trip to Miami and maybe half a paycheck. I don't know. As Israel Adesanya said, sometimes this guy shows up and looks like the machine. Sometimes this guy shows up like Ricky Martin and he doesn't do anything in the cage. He's just a good-looking Brazilian. Coach, to me, Paulo Costa is the Brazilian Kevin Holland. You never know what you're going to get, Coach. He's a box of chocolates, kind of like that Randy Brown and Kevin Holland fight. To me, Azamat Mirzakhanov embodies his nickname. He is an absolute professional. You saw him put out, I believe it was Alexander Rakic with a jab, Coach. This guy has incredible power. He absolutely dominated Alonzo Menafield. He hasn't fought the caliber of names that Paulo Costa has, but if this fight was at 185 at Costa's natural division, where he was taking it seriously and cutting weight, to me, that's why I picked Costa against Kopylov when he was a big underdog. That was a prove-it fight to me. Coach, the lack of cutting weight here shows me that Costa may be getting a little bit lazy in camp, and while I want to pick Costa, I'm going to go with Mirzakhanov by decision.
You know what? This reminds me of, did you ever see the movie Raging Bull?
No, haven't seen it.
De Niro plays Jake LaMotta, and he's not a great-looking guy. He's kind of like Mirzakhanov. And his wife says to him, "Yeah, that guy you're fighting he's a nice looking kid." He goes, "What do you mean he's nice looking?" He's handsome. He looks good. You think he's good looking? So you think he's good looking? She goes, "No, I'm just saying." He gets so pissed off. He gets in the ring with him like this pretty boy Costa, and he makes hamburger out of his face. He just keeps pounding his face till you can't recognize him. And he's like, "Is he still handsome?" And that's what I see happening here, because Costa's a pretty boy, and he's going to come in with his stupid little, nerd glasses. And Mirzakhanov is, like you said, the professional. Oh my God, he's going to eat him up. I think he's just going to eat him up. And he looks like the kind of guy that gets pissed off when he sees a tan guy. Because look at him. I mean, this guy's pale. He's kind of like, he's a little dumpy, but he's a pro fighter. And he's going to go in there and look at this guy and go, "I'm going to bury this dude." And I think that's what he's going to do, because he's got quick hands and he's got strong hands. But why is Costa going up in weight? Possibly because he doesn't have to cut. Maybe he's lazy, like you said.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of other ventures going on, and maybe he's too busy. You know what I mean? So I got to go with Mirzakhanov.
100%, coach. Yeah, I agree. I think there's something to be said about a guy that can't afford to lose. Mirzakhanov's getting older. He's undefeated. He wants to keep that stretch going, and he can't afford a loss, especially to a guy who's not even ranked in this division. He's on a path to the title. This fight could propel him towards a title shot. For me, there's too much on the line for Mirzakhanov to lose, and there's not enough on the line for Paulo Costa, who's been talking about a return to middleweight. So what does this fight even do for him? It doesn't do anything for him in the rankings at 185. So is he planning a kind of a run at 205? I'm not sure. I don't even think he knows. Coach, give me the more reliable Azamat Mirzakhanov. Coach, that propels us to the last fight of the evening. The two men around whom this fight card were built. The light heavyweight vacant strap is on the line in Miami. Jiri Prochazka takes on Carlos Black Jag Ulberg. Coach, I'm going to go to you first here. Who are you going with? Are you going with the Czech Republic phenom Jiri Prochazka, or the up-and-coming New Zealand Carlos Ulberg? I said New Zealander, excuse me.
I'm going with Jiri. I don't have a lot to say about it. I like the guy. I like his vibe. I think he's a nice guy. I think he's a generous guy. I think he's a caring person. And he got his title taken away from him. I think he wants it back, and I think he deserves it. Ulberg, I don't have anything bad to say about him. I just don't care. I just want to see. I'm going with my gut. I want Jiri to win. That's all there is to it. There's no big buildup. I'm not going to say, "Oh, this guy's fast. He's technical. He can do this and that. He's got a, triple backflip, grab your ass and grab him by the dick and twist it, hold." Remember they used to say that all the time?
He might have that. He might pull that out.
Well, do you remember that when we used to watch the earlier fights?
Yeah.
There was always, "Give him the old dick twist." Where'd that come from, and where did it go, man? That used to be a regular thing.
It's because we're watching it legally with Paramount Plus instead of Stream East or OVO Streams or one of these.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Now you can swear all you want, because did you see the last fights?
Yeah.
The one guy goes, "Oh, we're going to say thank Paramount," and I can say fuck. It's like, dude, you can say it anytime you want, you moron. Anyway, I'm going with Jiri, man. I hope he ends it quick. I want to see him celebrate. I want him to be happy. I think he's going to start crying, and it's going to be good. It's going to be good for the UFC. I do believe that.
I agree, Coach. I think Jiri Prochazka, other than Alexander Volkanovski and obviously the legend Conor McGregor, is my favorite fighter in the UFC. This guy can do no wrong. Like you said, an extremely charitable guy, just a one-of-one character. Coach, he's lost to Alex Pereira by knockout twice, and when Pereira won his last fight against Ankalaev, Jiri Prochazka was in the crowd crying tears of joy for the dude that knocked him out twice. You can't say anything else about this guy. I mean, even the fight week buildup, Coach, he's talking to Brett Okamoto, and he said, "Oh, how's Miami been going? How's Florida been going? It's your first time here. How's it been treating you?" And Jiri goes, Yes, Brett, I went to the zoo and I saw this small crocodile, and everything in me had to not choke the small crocodile, because this is dangerous for the fight and for my daughter, my upcoming daughter. My girlfriend is pregnant, and we have our own battles to face. And coach, who else says that? I mean, this guy, before he accepts fights, he goes into the woods for 2 to 3 days and speaks to the spirits to find out if this fight is right for him or not. He is a true samurai, coach, and I love this guy. He's not one of these guys that has a fake persona, a Colby Covington. I just got a call from the White House. Man, I hate this mother. Like, come on, man. It's played out by now. We've seen every variant of Conor McGregor. We've seen Irish Conor McGregor. We've seen American Conor McGregor. We've seen Black McGregor. We've seen every McGregor. It's time for the more genuine characters here, and I think Jiri Prochazka embodies that. I think this Paramount Plus era is kind of trending towards stars like that. You've got guys like Jiri and Arman Sarukian who are kind of becoming the darling of the UFC media in terms of popularity, and I really like that. Two genuine guys. I think Jiri Prochazka comes back and wins the title for a second time to cap what has been an incredible run back to the title after his 2 losses to Alex Pereira, coach.
I think a lot of you married guys out there should take a tip from Jiri. And if you're about to get in a fight with your wife, go out to the forest for a couple of days and come back and say, well, I'm glad I thought this through, because you're going to end up on the couch or in your car.
Yeah.
That's what I say. He's wise beyond his years.
I agree, coach, and he made sure it was the right woman. He hasn't even married her yet, but before getting into a serious relationship, this week he said he broke up with her 12 different times before having his kid. That's no PS. He said that in the media. He's been dropping absolute gems. And to your point about Ulberg, coach, he's not a bad guy. I just think he's kind of just there. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards, he's just kind of a guy, and his fight style reflects his personality. It's kind of like Casper Ruud with tennis. His play style reflects the way he is off the court, and it's cool. You know, he's a good dude. He's got cool friends. Volkanovski, Kai Kara. He trains with all those dudes down there. Dan Hooker. I mean, probably not the right time to talk about Dan Hooker. He's gay. But, I mean, he's cool, too, in the cage. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Yeah, Ulberg's just kind of there, and I think Jiri's becoming a very, very solid fan favorite, especially in my mind. I hope he takes this title back, and for me, coach, I think Ulberg might look good early, but I think the later rounds belong to Jiri Prochazka. We've seen it time and time again. Give me 3rd or 4th round TKO for Jiri.
I'm with you on that one, buddy.
Coach, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I was just thinking about, we were talking about last week's fights. It seemed like that card was good, too, and I mentioned to you how much I liked this kid Ewing, Ethan Ewing, correct?
Ethan, yeah.
This guy is an up and comer. They're starting to showcase some really nice fighters, and it's nice to see some new blood. I'm actually a little tired of these BMF championships and all that kind of stuff. It's nice to finally see some guys that are really, really good fighters, and like they said. When I watched this kid Ewing, it was great technical fight, and I mean it was fun. And a lot of these guys are getting away from the Kazakhstan lay down on a guy thing, and there's just a lot of. I come from the boxing era, and I don't mind a guy shoot every once in a while, but dude, set it up, and learn some defense and throw some punches. And these guys that are jabbing guys to death, watch and open it up. A guy a liver shot, because that will never fail, it seems like. Anyway, yeah, that's just throwing some other thoughts out there.
Yeah, coach, I agree. And to speak on the liver shot, that's actually what Ethan Ewing ended that fight with. And one thing I wanted to mention before we ended this video, coach, we kind of want to start getting into some more content, just so if the UFC has an off week where we don't get to upload a video, I would love to start interviewing fighters, give them a platform to kind of talk about some of their lives outside of the cage and some upcoming matchups. Ethan Ewing is a guy we would love to interview, coach. I'm sure you're on the same page there. Some of these smaller tier fighters obviously will have a hard time getting some of these ranked guys, but we would love to have a guy like Ethan Ewing or a Tommy McMillan or somebody like that, just to have them on the platform and showcase some of their off the court, off the octagon, off the training field kind of interests. I think that's something that we want to get into. So, Coach, I know you talked about this earlier, but we've got 2 requests. We want you to like the video, and we want you to comment down below what else you want to see from us. And also, comment down below your predictions. If you go better than us, maybe we'll have you featured on the next Coach and the Kid. Coach, it's been a pleasure. We trend towards the White House and some other up-and-coming huge events. I'm the Kid. He's the Coach. We're out. Love you, Coach.